The cold hum of the spaceship's engines echoed through the metallic corridors as I cautiously made my way toward the observation deck. Stars streaked past like silver rivers outside the thick, reinforced glass. I had been sent on a reconnaissance mission to the newly discovered planet Zerith 9, a world rumored to be inhabited by beings far beyond human understanding. Yet nothing could have prepared me for what awaited me in the shadowed depths of its crystalline forests. I was a relatively inexperienced xenobiologist, and while I had studied alien physiology in theory, nothing compared to the reality of standing face to face with a being who seemed to bend the laws of nature itself. That was when I first saw her, the alien warrior. She emerged from the mist like a phantom, her sleek, iridescent armor catching what little light filtered through the dense canopy. Each step she took resonated with purpose, a symphony of precision and authority. Her eyes, sharp, intelligent, and yet strangely human in emotion, fixed upon me. There was no fear in them, only a piercing curiosity. I swallowed hard, my voice trembling as I spoke. You're incredible. I've never seen anyone like you. For a moment, she studied me silently. Then, as if my words had unlocked some unspoken agreement, she lowered her weapon. The gesture was almost ritualistic, like a bow from a warrior acknowledging another worthy soul. Human, she said, her voice smooth and melodic, echoing with a resonance that made my chest tighten. Your words carry weight here. Why speak them? I realized that, in a way, I had complimented her bravery, the sheer audacity of her presence, the aura of power she exuded, and the danger she walked through daily without hesitation. Somehow, that acknowledgement mattered. You're fearless, I admitted. And I respect that. Anyone else would have attacked on sight. A faint ripple of movement passed through her armor, almost like a shiver of recognition. Then, to my astonishment, she took a deep breath and began the slow, deliberate process of removing her armor. Panels slid, segments retracted, and layers shimmered and dissolved into ethereal light. Beneath it all, her form was unlike anything I could have imagined. Bioluminescent patterns traced across her skin like rivers of energy, pulsing with every heartbeat, every breath. Her musculature was both delicate and incredibly strong, a perfect balance of beauty and lethal efficiency. See its source, she said softly, not as a command, but as an invitation. Her eyes bore into mine with a vulnerability I had not expected from a warrior so imposing. I stepped closer, my scientific instincts battling with awe. This is incredible. It's like your courage, your strength, is part of you, not just your armor. She inclined her head slightly. The armor shields the body, but not the essence. True strength lies beneath, in what cannot be fabricated. I realized then that her bravery, the kind I had praised, was not just a result of training or technology. It was inherent. Every pulse of her bioluminescence seemed to resonate with a life force born of countless battles, trials, and choices that required courage beyond comprehension. I felt honored to witness it. For hours, we walked through the crystalline forests, communicating in a mixture of gestures and broken language until her words slowly became comprehensible to me. She told me of her people, the Valens, a civilization built on honor, survival, and the understanding that true courage was revealed not in victory alone, but in the willingness to act despite fear. The armor was a tradition, yes, a symbol of battle readiness, but the essence of a Valen warrior was never contained within metal. What do humans understand of bravery? She asked me, her voice more curious than accusatory. I think we only understand it in extremes, I admitted. We write stories, glorify heroics, but most of the time, we hide from danger. We survive by avoidance, not confrontation. Her glowing patterns flickered as if amused. Then your recognition today is rare. You acknowledged what many would never see. That is bravery, too, not the absence of fear, but the choice to see beyond it. As the day faded into a luminescent twilight, I felt a bond forming between us, fragile yet undeniable. I realized I was not simply a visitor in her world, I had become a witness to something sacred. She was revealing herself, not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally. And in doing so, she was offering me a glimpse into a truth humans rarely grasp, that courage is an internal phenomenon, radiating outward when acknowledged, nurtured, and respected. Then came the moment of testing. The ground beneath the crystalline forest trembled as a pack of shadowhounds, predatory creatures native to Zerith 9, emerged from the mist, their teeth glinting in the fading light. Her bioluminescent patterns brightened, signaling alertness, but she did not raise her weapon. Instead, she stepped forward, letting me see her bare form shimmer with radiant energy. "They will attack," I whispered, panicked. "You can't." "I am not afraid," she interrupted gently. "Courage is not the absence of danger, human. It is the acknowledgement of it, and the choice to act with purpose." In an instant, her body became a beacon of energy, and the shadowhounds recoiled as if struck by an invisible force. The forest itself seemed to respond to her presence, every crystalline surface refracting light in defense of her will. I watched, heart pounding, as she moved among them with grace and precision, neutralizing the threat without a single strike of aggression. When the last of the shadowhounds fled into the darkness, she turned to me. "Do you see now?" I nodded, too awestruck for words. I had seen courage manifested physically, spiritually, and emotionally. It was a force that radiated from within, amplified by the recognition of others, and solidified through choice. Her bravery was real, not a performance for me, not even for herself, but an expression of essence. We returned to the observation point as night fell. The sky above Zerith 9 shimmered with auroras of impossible colors, waves of energy dancing across the atmosphere. She reclothed herself in her armor, but now it seemed almost ceremonial, a covering for the observer rather than the warrior. "Will you tell your people of this?" she asked. I will," I said, hesitant. "But I fear no one will understand what I've seen. It's beyond explanation." "Then tell them the essence," she replied. "Not the armor. Not the battles. Tell them what lies beneath. Perhaps then, they will begin to understand courage." I felt a wave of gratitude. "Thank you for trusting me." She inclined her head, a simple gesture that conveyed more than words ever could. Trust is earned through acknowledgement. You saw me as I am. That is rare. The next morning, I left Zerith 9 aboard my ship, the alien warrior watching silently from the edge of the forest. The story I would tell upon my return would be met with skepticism, disbelief, and wonder. Yet I knew that my mission had succeeded in a way far beyond data collection or reconnaissance. I had witnessed truth. I had seen courage in its purest form, unmasked and undeniable. As the stars streamed past once again, I realized that the experience had changed me. Courage was no longer an abstract concept to be studied from afar. It was something alive, something luminous, something that could be shared, understood, and inspired. And somewhere, on a distant planet, a warrior continued to shine, her essence untouchable, her bravery eternal, waiting for the next observer to recognize what lay beneath. Months later, back on Earth, I would present my findings. Colleagues would marvel at the bioluminescent readings, the anomalous energy patterns, and the extraordinary physiology of the Valens. But the essence of what I had seen, the bravery, the strength, the unspoken truth, would be harder to convey. I could describe the patterns, the light, the defensive reactions, and the raw power, but the deeper lesson, the revelation beneath the armor, was something that could only be felt. And I would always remember the moment she removed her armor, the moment she invited me to see not just her body, but her courage, her truth, and her soul. That was the moment when the story became more than science fiction, more than discovery, and became a lesson on the universality of bravery, the courage to act in the face of fear, the courage to be oneself, and the courage to be seen. The universe is vast, full of untold wonders and beings whose truths we may never fully understand. Yet sometimes, in a fleeting encounter, in a moment of mutual recognition, we are shown that the essence of life, of bravery, of trust, of authenticity, is not hidden by armor, shields, or appearances. It is luminous, radiant, and undeniable for those willing to see. And on that distant, crystalline world, beneath the alien warrior's armor, I had seen it, and I would carry it with me forever.